We got a good old-fashioned AITA story for you here. This one is, am I the astronaut for questioning my mother-in-law's education? Over the past few weeks, I, female 42, have been feeling pretty ill. My mother-in-law, female 66, has been helping my husband, male 44, and me around the house and with our kids during this time period. The trouble started when my older son, male 15, started having trouble in his math class. My mother-in-law has started tutoring him, and they both seem to enjoy it greatly. My son performed quite well on his last math test, though truthfully, I'm wondering if it's primarily because of his own effort. My mother-in-law only has a bachelor's degree in ancient history, so I feel that she could competently tutor my son in writing. However, math is an entirely separate beast. I've asked her a few times if she still remembers the content that my son is learning and if she feels comfortable explaining the concepts, and she is always giving me a confident response. I've even told her that if she doesn't understand a concept, she could always ask me for help, to which she said she'd keep that in mind. I've also asked my husband if he could perhaps monitor his mother while she teaches our son, but he declined, saying that he's confident in her skills. I've pressed him again on the matter, and he said that I was being disrespectful and he worries that I will hurt her feelings. I told him that her feelings should be secondary to our son's education. Am I the asshole? For those wondering about my own education background, I am an anesthesiologist. Given my busy work schedule, I am unable to give my son the proper tutoring he may need, so I've decided to hire a math tutor. Mother-in-law is a very hardworking woman who is dedicated to her grandson's education, but as a mother, I need peace of mind only a properly trained math tutor can provide. So we don't get any further update about how his grades were during the period of his tutoring. There are two very different ways that this can go. If there was enough evidence to warrant genuine concern, then mom's feelings would be warranted, and then it would be a different situation. However, I feel like if there were enough evidence that was valid evidence, she would have mentioned that in this story, and doesn't. The only evidence that exists here is that he did well on a test. Where does the concern come in? What reason is there to be concerned? As long as the output of this work is positive and is of an acceptable quality, there's no reason to be concerned about this. And this might be a helicopter parenting kind of thing. It might be a control thing. It might be a mom versus mother-in-law kind of thing where it's a, you couldn't give my son the same quality that I can give him. But then she went and hired a tutor, so it's just between them two. It's not just another human can't do it, it's you can't do it. And that makes her the asshole. Operating on the assumption that there isn't any kind of other evidence that we need to consider here, because I feel like she would have mentioned that in here, she is definitely the asshole. If the outcome is positive, if the grades are good, and if he feels comfortable with it, if anything, I'd say discuss this with your kid and be like, hey, when you go to class, when you have quizzes, when you take tests, do you feel like what you learn from grandma is helping you? Doesn't seem like that was ever an option for OP here. OP was just like, I don't trust it. You only have a bachelor's degree in ancient history. I have a degree in business. Does that mean that I can't have anything to do with art? Does that mean that I can't have anything to do with content creation? Somebody's degree sure as shit does not limit their knowledge. Somebody's path in life sure as shit does not limit their amount of knowledge. It does not limit them from being useful in other areas in life. If that were the case, OP would be useless in math as well, right? The logic doesn't add up here. There is some kind of contempt for mother-in-law that I guarantee you mother-in-law feels. Husband feels it. Husband said, you're being an asshole. Stop. And right now, hubby is just like, God, my mom's doing us a favor here. Like, just back off. Stop. Trying to prevent all hell from breaking loose. But it sounds like he lost that battle because OP hired a math tutor. You're the asshole, OP. Where are you on the ASCON scale? Where is OP here? As a reminder, with the ASCON scale, it operates like the DEFCON scale for the US military, where 1 is the worst, the most severe, and 4 is the least severe. ASCON 4 is you could have done it differently. ASCON 3 is you should have done it differently. ASCON 2 is you definitely shouldn't have done that. And ASCON 1 is you're a terrible human. I feel like this is more severe than most people do. I feel like this is a shit thing to do. It's not evil. We're not yet into evil territory, I don't feel like, but it's getting there. There's no substantial evidence to back up the feelings here. It's just feelings. And I understand as a parent, your gut means a lot. However, in this case, I feel like that gut needs checked. It has a really high potential of burning bridges and relationships that would have a ripple effect and that would be damaging to the marriage. Now we start looking at what's best for the kid. This is overreactive and potentially damaging to a child's relationship with their grandparent and the relationship between mom and dad. There are all kinds of things at stake here, which I feel like is why it's more severe. It's not evil yet, but it definitely shouldn't have happened. And that puts us on a wee little trip up to ESCON 2. Definitely shouldn't have done it. I think you have to check yourself and look at the evidence and then say, is this just something that I'm feeling, or is this something that can be substantiated here? Is this valid? You have to be able to ask yourself that and check it with facts and then align it and say, okay, it's just me. It's just something that I'm feeling. Let's wait until more evidence rolls in and see if this is just a feeling and see if that gets validated again, that it is just a feeling, or if my hunch actually plays through. But operating just on a hunch and a feeling and being willing to burn bridges and cause problems in your marriage and cause problems with the relationship between a grandparent and a grandchild or your child is dangerous. That is dangerous, and it needs to be reined in. ESCON 2. Her son got good grades. There's nothing there to substantiate her feelings right now. Nothing.